tonight on Elon Local News.
Historic win. Elon's dance team made history in Daytona Beach. Its members join us live tonight.
Spring sickness. Relax restrictions, but here comes the sniffles, sore throats, and stomach bugs. Why that is and more ahead.
And study abroad struggle. Course registration was supposed to make going abroad easier for students, but it's leaving them more frustrated. Those stories and more.
Elon Local News starts now.
Live from the Jane and Brian Williams studio at Elon University School of Communications, you're watching Elon Local News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Chloe Franklin.
And I'm Jenna Manderioli. We have a lot of news to get to this evening.
We begin tonight with the slew of spring sicknesses.
Campus is seeing outbreaks in flu, mono, strep throat, and worsened allergies, according to Student Health Services. University Medical Director Dr. Jeanette Archinal says the rise in infections is not related to the new optional mask policies in classrooms, but rather the nationwide relaxation of safety precautions over the last few months after 2 years of caution. She says people are getting too comfortable too quickly.
Everybody not on a college campus interpreted the relaxation of mask mandates as in we don't need to do anything at all. And that was always wrong. It's all the things that we did for COVID. The only difference is masks. But this is why it all spikes. It's because people went from everything to nothing.
Elon sophomore Adger Lewis went to Student Health Services after 4 of her roommates also tested positive for the flu. She says she might not have thought much of her symptoms if she did not know the flu is going around.
I feel like honestly, a lot of people might not even know that the flu is going around unless someone has been affected by it, because I didn't know that it was going around until about 2 or 3 weeks ago when other people were testing positive for it.
Archinal says the spike in illnesses and infections is not specific to the Elon community, but it is nationwide.
As graduation nears, over 2,200 seniors could soon face the ever-changing job market. Our Ashlyn Deloughy sat down with the director of the Student Professional Development Center, Brooke Buffington, to discuss the hiring process that lies ahead.
Jobs are on the line for seniors right now, of course. Talk to me a little bit about, what the job market is like right now.
It's a good job market, right? Right now is a strong job market. It's definitely different than what we saw in 2020, right? That was right after the pandemic had hit, a lot of uncertainty. The industries, especially industries, are feeling much more confident in their hiring. We're seeing good hiring numbers, but that means that seniors need to be applying and need to be actively engaging in the job cycle. Just because it's a busy job cycle, it still takes a little bit of work to find the right opportunity for you.
Are we seeing any sort of trends that indicate that certain industries right now are hiring more than others?
Really, almost every industry that we're hearing from has picked up a great deal. Even those that stopped hiring or really curtailed their hiring during the pandemic, such as the sports industry or hospitality and entertainment, has come back full force because a lot of them are playing catch up.
What is your best advice for students? How can they best prepare to enter this job market?
I really encourage quality over quantity. Right, so a lot of students like to hit that submit button 50 times without any necessarily strong intention behind why they hit the submit button. I'd rather students take, some thoughtful reflection about what they're really interested in and hit that submit button 15 times. It's not just your resume going into the pool, but is there a great alumni contact? Did you come and speak with one of our career advisors and they tell you that we have a recruiting contact? Because what I would like for our seniors to do is get their name in front of a recruiting contact, an alumni contact, in front of somebody at the company or organization one more time beyond just the application.
We chatted a little bit before about how, we know there are jobs out there, but sometimes it just doesn't feel like it when you're in the process. So any just general advice you have on that?
Yeah, inevitably when it rains, it pours, right? You'll apply and then you hear nothing and it feels like crickets and you're wondering where you're going in your life. And then all of a sudden in the same week, inevitably, all the calls will come in. Make sure your voicemail has a nice message to it, that it's a professional message, right? Because that phone call could come when you're in the middle of class, or it could come at 7 o'clock on a Friday night. Also keep a tracking document, right? Because if something you applied to in January, you even forget what it is, what the job was, and now you're having to interview for it, it's nice to have that tracking document to go back to. It can get a little bit frustrating and can get a little bit overwhelming. Is come in and speak with one of our career advisors. Hopefully we'll reassure you that one, it's okay to feel a bit overwhelmed, to feel a bit frustrated with the process, to not know what the timeline is going to look like, but also hope we'll give you a next step.
Anyone interested in making a career advising appointment can do so on the Elon Job Network website.
The Global Education Center is doing away with the formal application for winter term programs and are now allowing students to simply sign up when registering for classes. In a statement to ENN, GEC spokeswoman Shanna Van Beek says the change makes the process easier for students. But some are finding the new process just as frustrating. Rising senior Braden Simmons is going to Disney World rather than one of his top choices, New Zealand or Barbados. Those were already full by his registration time. Because he works in admissions, Simmons talks about abroad opportunities often. But now he says he's even more disappointed.
In good faith, I don't want to sit here and say every kid now has the opportunity to go and study abroad and it's so flexible and convenient for people, where we're now coming to a first served, first come basis, and these juniors, sophomores, and freshmen that we had built up this expectation that they could go on study abroad in J-term no longer can. So like, what, in good faith, why should I be able to advertise that to prospective students as a cornerstone to Elon?
The GEC's response was that there are multiple programs for students to choose from if they wish to study abroad. With registration ongoing, ENN cannot compare this new process to the old one, but will continue to follow this story. Go to elonnewsnetwork.com for updated coverage.
Elon's Board of Trustees announced a new professorship while visiting campus this weekend. The new promotion will take nominations from students, faculty, and staff, but it is still determining the details for the process and start date. According to Chair of the Board Ed Moriarty, the endowed professorship will be a 3-year term, and the recipient will get a financial award to supplement their work on the promotion of undergraduate teaching. During their visit, the trustees sat for their midterm review of the campus master plan, walked through the Innovation Quad construction, and made adjustments to Elon's peer institutions list. David Porter was elected as the new chair of the board as Moriarty's 2-year term ends in June. Porter will serve until spring 2024.
We're nearly 50 days into Russia's continued war on Ukraine, and today the Austrian Chancellor Karl Nehammer met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow. He is the first European Union leader to meet with Putin in person since the invasion on Ukraine began. Nehammer said his conversation was tough, direct, and open. He said Putin cannot be underestimated for his violence. Elon political science professor Boris Kezgin says students need to continue paying attention to the war as it could go on for years.
If nothing else, on a moral ground, on a humanitarian ground, this is horrific.
Kezgin says he predicts an invasion into eastern Ukraine is likely and could be even more violent.
Elon's dance team made history at their competition in Daytona Beach last weekend, becoming the first team to bring Elon a national championship in 41 years. Joining us now to discuss the road to nationals, the competition itself, and what's next are 3 members of the dance team.
Colin Zeno, Devin Battaglia, and Phoebe Gamponia. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So you guys are national champions. That is amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you guys talk about that feeling when you won leading up to your names being called? What was going through your heads?
I was sitting on like the band shell and they were like, these 2 teams are 0.2 of a point away from first and second place. And they were like in second place and I was like, UVU. And they were like, Utah Valley. And then everyone was just like, because they told us not to react until our name was called. So we were just trying so hard not to like show any emotion, but it was tears, it was ugly faces, all
of it, everything. Yes, of course. And can you just tell us a little bit about that weekend, what it was like competing in Daytona?
It's honestly an indescribable feeling, but it's huge for us just because our team hasn't been since 2019, and that means only a very small fraction of our team had ever been before. So for all of us, we were nervous, excited, but we really felt ready, and we were excited to see all the other teams there, experience the energy that everyone had been telling us about for so long, and just finally get to do what we work so hard day in and day out for. And I mean, there's no better way for it to pay off than a national championship. So
so amazing. And now you guys also took home a 3rd place trophy for your Palms category, so congrats on that as well.
Thank you.
Can you talk about that process of learning 2 different dances at the national level?
Yeah, so we have a choreography weekend at the end of first semester. So we stay over winter break for a weekend, and we brought in our choreographer, Anthony Manderioli, to choreograph our hip hop routine, and you basically learn a whole entire 2-minute routine that entire weekend. It's very, very strenuous on your body. It's very, very mentally exhausting, but the work is so worth it in the end. And then we had our pom choreo weekend in February, I believe, and it's the same exact thing. It's 12-hour practice days. It's definitely long, but definitely worth it, and it definitely got us to where we need to be.
So how has it been being back on campus? I mean, are you still floating like on cloud 9 right now?
I was talking to them earlier. I was like, I don't even feel like I'm a national champion just because I have like so many other things in my head going on, like, oh my God, homework, oh my God, this. But like there are little spurts in the day where I'm like, oh wow, like I'm a national champion. So it's weird.
I keep having these moments of like remembering, like Colin was saying when we were on the band shell, and they were saying like, and these two teams are 0.2 of a point away, and I'm like, okay, like, and then I'm like, oh wait, it already happened, like we already won. Like I keep hearing it in my head again and being like, please don't say her name first, and then I'm like, we did it, we actually did it. Like we actually won, and it really has not sunk in yet, but the support we've received already has been absolutely incredible, and we're so thankful for the Elon community.
That's amazing. Well, I have to ask, who gets to keep the trophies?
It's the most serious question we've asked yet.
They need to be displayed
I mean,
somewhere.
yeah, we also have a big banner, so they'll definitely be either in the Shar Center or somewhere that everybody can see them.
Yes.
So more of a team keeping it, putting it on display.
For sure.
I love that. Well,
Very
Cullen, Devin, and Phoebe, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Congratulations again on your championship.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, in other sports news, the 5th Elon men's basketball player and second since former head coach Schraggy's resignation last week has entered the transfer portal. Darius Burford officially entered the portal this afternoon. He was this season's leading scorer and was named to Colonial Athletic Association All-Rookie Team in 2021.
And after its weekend away at Northeastern University in Boston, the Elon baseball team is trotting home today via bus. The team was supposed to fly home last night on JetBlue, but along with almost 50 other flights this weekend, their ride home was canceled due to staffing shortages.
A local high school coach is teaching the players more than X and O's. As our Jacob Kismore reports, he strives to instill life lessons.
As kids arrive in the morning at East Guilford High School in Gibsonville, social studies teacher Mitch Michener prepares for his first class of the day. Michener is in his 3rd year at EGHS, where he teaches and
what are we doing? We're trying to grab. We're losing our discipline.
Coaches.
Center of gravity right here. You know what I'm saying? You're kind of all over the place.
And you can show them, in my case, what a good male role model would be.
EGHS teaches kids from Greensboro to Gibsonville. Michener says for many kids at EGHS, sports are not just a way to stay active, but to grow as people.
What we're looking at here is, can we play man-to-man?
As a coach, the stereotypical thing is to, go play in college, but it's not just that. It's guys that have gone on and gotten a 4-year degree or gotten a certification, and they've got a full-time job and they've got a family and they've got kids.
EGHS wrestling coach Maurice Atwood says he couldn't agree more and sees Michener helping students on and off the field.
We're swiping, we're guessing.
He's very supportive. He helps a lot of these kids around here that are socially disadvantaged, same way that other coaches here do, and to do what has to be done to keep kids as involved as possible.
And here at Michener's second classroom, the EGHS football field, he gets to see his favorite part of coaching play out.
When you see a kid get what you're saying and be able to say it in their own words or do it in their own words, or if you're on the field, you see what you taught actually in action, no matter what sport it is. It's rewarding to see that.
Jacob Kismore.
1, 2, 3. D-block. Good job, guys.
Elon Local News.
To read more about Michener, visit our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
You're watching Elon Local News.
Ketanji Brown Jackson is the first black woman to soon sit on the Supreme Court after being confirmed by the Senate in a 53-47 vote. Elon Law Assistant Professor Tiffany Atkins says there may not be any major changes on the court as conservative justices still hold a 6-3 majority. Atkins says Jackson will bring her own expertise to the court.
I think that her impact will be powerful. I think in the decisions, even if their ideology of the court doesn't change, the decisions she issues, her opinion, her insight, her input on the court, I think that also will have a tremendous impact.
Atkins says she cried when Judge Jackson was confirmed. She thinks this kind of representation is important because it helps combat stereotypes and conveys a message that you belong and you are good enough.
I hope that Black girls, Latinx girls, Asian girls, all people looked at her and thought, this is amazing and I can achieve greatness because one woman has, shattered another glass ceiling.
Judge Jackson is set to take the seat of Justice Stephen Breyer, who is retiring at the end of the current term. Her first day on the High Court is planned for Wednesday, September 28th.
President Biden is scheduled to visit Greensboro Thursday as part of his rural infrastructure tour. He plans to discuss supply chain issues and his plan to combat inflation rates seeing 40-year highs. The exact location and time has yet to be announced, but Elon News Network will be covering it all. Be sure to tune in on ELN Morning Thursday and visit our website, elonnewsnetwork.com. Chloe, I have to say, I was really happy when it was warm today. 80s, I like the sunshine, it was good.
I know, I like the warmth too, but I just got my blowout and I was like, we can't have puffy hair with the humidity. It's not great for the hair.
True.
But it is now 22 minutes after the hour, and joining us live under the Oaks for a look at the weather ahead is our Haley Phelps.
Haley, good evening to you.
The weather has continued into the evening, and the warm temperatures, we will continue to see them all throughout the rest of this week. Let's take a look now at your Phoenix 5-day forecast. Tomorrow and Wednesday, we will have more spring-like weather with a high of 81 degrees. And then on Thursday, there is the potential for some scattered thunderstorms with a high of 77. On Friday, the temperature will stay in that 70s range with a high of 74 and partly sunny skies. And then to kick off the long weekend on Saturday, there'll be a high of 73 degrees and a low of 53. That's all for your Phoenix 5-day forecast. Now back to you in the studio.
Haley Phelps, thank you so much. The end of the academic year is a busy time for many, but it brings plenty of bookings for student photographers. Our Naomi Washington spoke to 3 Elon seniors who are setting their shutter speed to capture the memories.
Caps, gowns, and the class of 2022 tassels can be seen in front of the Alamance Fountain, a sign that graduation season has begun. Elon senior Willem Butler takes headshots of his fellow classmates in the music theater department throughout the year. When graduation photo season comes around in the spring, Butler says business picks up even more, a time for him to meet new faces on campus.
I get to really know people and their experience at Elon. I think it's really nice, especially since they are seniors. They can tell me so many stories about their college experience, and hopefully when they look back in the photos, they can remember saying those stories and remembering those stories.
Elon senior Georgia Sharborough is the owner of Little Blue Jay Photography, a business she started in high school. Sharborough says this graduation season, she's offering seniors photo shoots at 40% of the price of her normal rate.
I wanted to offer my services at a discounted rate because I did not want any students, for any financial reason, to not be able to capture their senior memories. I don't think that that should have a price tag on it. Obviously it does have some sort of price tag, but I don't think it should be something obnoxious.
Elon senior Liam O'Connor has been taking grad photos for his friends since his freshman year. But now that he's a senior himself, he wants to take a step back from taking grad photos so often to enjoy his final moments at Elon.
I'm at this moment where I am getting everyone like text bombarding like, hey Liam, are you overbooked at this moment? Like, actually, I'm not. But I remember when I revised my prices this year, I really didn't want to be overwhelmed with the amount of people I was, shooting for, because I did want to enjoy my senior spring.
All 3 photographers say hot spots on campus for Elon seniors to take photos are at the Alamance building and around the fountain. Naomi Washington, Elon Local News.
To learn more about these student photographers, pick up a copy of this week's Pendulum.
You're watching Elon Local News.
The Boys and Girls Club of Alamance County and Andrews Elementary got a head start on Easter weekend festivities with games, face painting, and an Easter egg hunt right here on Elon's campus. President Book's Deputy Chief of Staff, Carrie Taylor, has been planning the event since February. Taylor says the event was created when President Book took office and has since become a tradition.
community is important, and it's a big, it's important to me, and it's also important to the president. And we love children. I think it's really nice to have kids on campus.
Lily Hill is a part of the Education Ambassador Group on campus and volunteered at the event. She says it reaffirmed her passion for children.
This was like so happy leaving because it was just so fun to see them so excited, and it really like reiterated the fact that I do want to be a teacher.
This Easter event is expected to remain an Elon tradition. I have to tell you, I went to the event and it was just so great to see the kids having so much fun and to see something centered around that for the community.
Yeah, it looked so festive and just active, so many smiles, just a really, really great turnout. I hope to be able to go myself next year, hopefully.
Yeah, and the kids were so bold. Like when you talk to the volunteers, they'll go up to them, they'll go up to President Book. The Phoenix was there, like the one that's at the games and stuff, so that was super cute.
Did they like take pictures with him and all?
Yeah, I mean, they were running around doing anything they wanted, but you can just see the joy on their faces, so it was
very
great.
Good. Well, that's all the news we have for you this evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
For all the news you need to know we're not on the air, visit our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
And follow us on social media at Elon News Network.
Be sure to tune in Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern for another edition of ELN Morning.
Have a great week, Elon.